Smell those eggs and bacon. It's time for Breakfast Talk, a podcast covering a range of entrepreneurial and independent comics creation topics first thing in the morning. Of course, please like and share if you're enjoying our special seasoning. And be sure to subscribe to join us every Monday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Let's talk.
I missed my cool intro.
Yeah, welcome back to Breakfast Talk, episode 3.
Most
I'm
breakfasty of all breakfast talks.
extra bacon. I'm Greg Moquin, co-founder of Nova Comics and writer, creator, and
New Yorker.
New Yorker. Even though I don't have an accent, but people think I have an accent. Do I sound like I'm from Boston now? Baston? Baston? Baston, yeah, chowder and hot wings. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm Dylan. I forgot I'm next.
Yeah.
I'm here.
I'm Dylan. I'm the chief editor-in-chief. I'm just the chief. I'm editor-in-chief and CTO. I work on the website and do all the technical mumbo jumbo.
Yes, and I'm Hilo from New Leaf Studios. I am an illustrator by trade, and I am the art director, pretty much every director at New Leaf Studios.
Awesome. Today's topic, we're going to be talking about having a system in place for creating anything. So, like a comic, we'll just say, since we're comic creators. Because we didn't have a system in place, and it we destroyed it. It could have came out better, but because of my fault, my artist at the time, other things that factored in. So yeah, we're gonna jump into that. Okay, so just have like a fat kid jumping off like a diving board.
Or is like what's that movie with Jack Black where she jumps in the pool and like all the water comes
What's that
out?
Shadow?
Shadow
Hal.
It's like a tidal wave.
Hal wants a gal.
Yeah, there you go.
So I guess I'll start since that's my experience. So
tell us about it, Greg. Tell us.
I had a script for our issue 1 of Seer Chronicles, and I was like, cool. We didn't edit it, and I just sent it to the artist at the time that we had, and he just started making it without any didn't ask if it was edited or which I guess he probably thought it was edited. I just didn't know that process. So you need an editor. That's very important. We're actually going to be getting it edited the correct way now and redoing it. So yeah, so we created a system because that happened, which I guess that we learned from our mistakes. I learned it's my fault that I sent it to the artist beforehand, before it was even edited. There's another cop coming down the road.
Greg's gonna mute himself while I take over. So one of the things that you should learn if you're operating a business or trying to build a creative endeavor, right? And that is that whenever something goes wrong, there's only 2 things that can be at fault: people or systems. And you should always check systems first. Systems are the process in which you go from point A to point B of completion for every task and all the minor tasks. So like the task as a whole of, like, say, completing a comic book, as all the way down to how you draw one line. And so obviously, you don't need something like a work instruction for how to draw a straight line. But the point is that there is a process to doing a lot of these things that can save you tremendous amounts of time. So like Greg was saying, he wrote up a script and without editing it sent it to an artist. So then when he
every single time. So having that to fall back on and know that like it's not just about this one thing I can do well. It's about every step along the way doing that well. And at the end, it's going to look exactly how I want it, or at least a version of how I want it. Because if you know anything about artists, we're perpetually the worst critics of our art. So even if we make, the best art we possibly can and everybody loves it, we're going to be like, man, that was a piece of crap. So, on the artist side, like, so Greg sent his script to an artist. What a lot of artists forget is, well, a major step in their process should be to storyboard. And there's something called dummies. And I don't know if a lot of people know what dummies are. Dummies are the step in between a storyboard and a final sequential pencil. So what it does is it takes your storyboard is supposed to be a loose rendition. It's about getting the gestures, it's about getting the movement, and it's really more panel by panel. So that's what your storyboard is thinking about what's in the panel, how does it move, or how do the characters move, the actions, and it's in a very quick manner. So that's what a storyboard is. And then when you move into your dummies, it's like a more organized process. So you're saying, okay, I already know what's in the panel. Now, how does the composition work? The panel type, which, should I put it as a vertical or horizontal? Should I do something like a splash page? Should I do so? That's more of the figuring out process there. And then when you get to your pencil process, all you have to do is, like, all the thinking is figured out. So now it's all about execution. So what a lot of artists do is they just start on the pencil side. So they're thinking while they're drawing, and they don't have all that stuff thought out yet. So you can kind of tell in some regards that there needs to be less thinking in that stage and more execution in that stage, because typically pencils are that's like the fine art part of your comic. Like the inking and the color, that's kind of like the adding into that fine art. It's like refining it. But the pencils themselves are that's like the meat of the meal, So if you can set yourself up with those two processes, at least storyboarding, at least know what you're going to be putting into those panels before you get there, then you can make your comics just way better. You can make your whole process, everything is more readable. And then when you pass it on to, let's say, and what I was recommending to Greg last time is, after your pencils are done, you should have a letterer look at it and do like a sketch of where he would put things, or even, start that process right then and there. So that way, after the pencils, once you move, when you have your lettering done, you can see if all the text and bubbles have enough spacing and it doesn't fight with the composition of the work. And then once you move into your inks, if you need any changes done, you can do that at that point in time, so you don't do it later and there's no conflicts. So yeah, once you pass your artwork off to another person, first of all, messy pencils are a nightmare for inkers. So if your pencils are not clean, it's going to be that much harder for a inker to ink your work, because they're going to be like, wait, is this line important? Is this line not important? What even is this? Is this an arm? Is this a leg? That kind of stuff. So you really have to have your pencils be clean and then send it to an inker so that they can do their job like in an effective way, because being part of a team professionally, a lot of the concern when you're part of a creative team is how efficiently can we get this done. So they'll say ramp back the detail because it's less efficient to do it that way. And simplicity is usually pretty golden. As long as you can read something, it's good enough. Even though you might want to put a ton of detail into it, like as a penciler, as long as you can have a clean, nice image that's easily readable, that's success. So, and then passing that along to an inker that they can, again, add on to that process. It just makes everything more effective. The coloring process, everything just becomes a lot easier from there.
Yeah, I was going to say something else on that too, is so for some creators, they might have people who do multiple jobs, maybe an inker who's a colorer or a stenciler who's also an inker. And I would say that if that's the case, then whoever it is that you're pulling on, you should still try to utilize the same processes. So for example, these sketchy lines might not be relevant if they're also the inker, right? But that doesn't mean that you should let them just pencil and ink it without your approval. Yes. With the pencils, right? And so that's something that even if you're working with somebody who's handling multiple tasks in order to either save money or maybe just, it's a friend that's doing it, still even if it's yourself doing it, you need, someone else to review it. You want it so that you still stop at everyone like that. The reason that those are distinct jobs is because it's part of a process. So even if one person's doing it, they should still be separated. Like someone shouldn't stencil one page out and then ink it out, then stencil the next page out and ink it out, and all of a sudden you realize that those two pages don't match. Like the people aren't the same. Like it should all go through the same process. Everything should be penciled. Everything should be inked.
You need a stopping point at each individual juncture so that you can have some room for editing. Even if, like you said, even if you're doing it, it's your comic, have somebody take a look and say, oh, that's readable. Because
especially if
sometimes
you're the one doing everything. Like you should 100% have an
yeah.
outside eye.
And like, because sometimes we think something is readable from our perspective, and then we put it on the page, and then somebody's like, "What the hell is this?" And you're like, "It's so obvious what that is."
Cool
But
for ants.
but that's the thing, is like our perspective is not everyone's perspective. And when you're trying to reach an audience, especially like a bigger audience, just with your visual interpretation of things, you want to have a mass readability. Again, imagery wise, you can have your niche when it comes to your style and your writing and, you know, your overall feeling and design and stuff. But when it comes to readability, it's kind of like the whole "this is my style" thing. Like when you're an artist, when you're in school, the first couple, like the first year, they just like beat the crap out of you and tell you, like, if you don't know how to do something, like, a lack of knowledge is not your style. Your style is your choice. It's something that you say, I prefer this, so I'm going to do it this way. But if you just lack a skill, like if you don't know anatomy and then you're drawing hands wrong, you're saying that's my style. That's not your style. You just don't know how to draw hands.
Picasso, like Picasso he had art before his abstract art.
He was
that was phenomenally well, like, you know, the Picasso, the Leonardo da Vinci style art where it's very crisp, very realistic.
Picasso was a genius at like 12 years old. He was doing masterworks, so like copying masterworks like perfectly. So yeah, and then his style evolved. His style, that was his choice to make, you know, the paintings that he did make, cubism, all that kind of stuff. No, but my point was just to make sure that you're not like getting ahead of yourself and moving too quick. You have to have stops at each juncture, and you have to make sure that people understand it and it is readable, from pencils to inks to all that kind of stuff. You're making a horror comic, and yeah, it's going to be dark, but if all your shapes are blended together because it's so dark, it's not readable. So that's not your style, and that's not the style of that genre. That's just a mistake on your part to not have it be readable.
Yeah, I actually like my issue was like I was making it like fast process, and like the artist that we had did everything. Well, not everything. He did the pencils and ink part, and he didn't send any like sketches before he started inking. And then I like didn't wonder about that till like midway through, but it was kind of like too late by then. I was like, oh shit. So yeah, I was like, oh well, I paid for this, but like we're like halfway through, and then I also like it was my fault that I wasn't like critiquing it. I was just like happy that my words were becoming art, and you can't do that. You have to actually kind of be a dick, but not be a dick at the same time.
Well, no, it's funny because like me as an artist, like it's really like there's a lot of personal styles of doing things. And me personally, I like feedback. Like I like sending people work, like in my clients, I'll send them each stage and I'll get their feedback on it. And if they're not feeling it, like I'll be like, okay, how can I improve it? You know, like, so I never move into another stage without having some feedback. And I kind of hate when I send something to somebody and they give me this very vague kind of general reaction to it. Like, oh, okay. What do you?
Oh like, no! Anytime I see like art from somebody, usually like unless if it's like a certain person, I like think the art is amazing because one, I can't draw for shit, so like anything that someone draws is amazing to me. Like Dylan was drawing something on like a live on video on Instagram, and that looked like amazing. But it actually was, but it was like
it's progress.
Yeah, it was this building in like Tennessee.
Did you see it, Hector?
I saw your like the sketches that you were doing for the course, like the eye and stuff like that. I thought it was like, I was like, oh, okay, like he's actually making some big progress.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was like, oh wow.
Oh, is that that's I've been to Nashville and I actually went there. It has like a whole bunch of little ponds around it and stuff.
I don't remember if it has ponds around it, but it's the Parthenon. It's the There's only one, so if you saw it, you saw it. I just don't remember if there's bodies of water around it. Because I know it's a lot of grass around it, so there could be ponds, but it would be pretty far away.
I don't know why that's like the number one thing I remember either.
But yeah, no, it's because it stands out. It's the I think it's like the only replica of the Parthenon, and it's I can't remember if it's to scale or not. I think it wasn't to scale. I think it's smaller.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I think Parthenon was huge. They show you what the scale size is, but I don't remember. I just remember that it's huge, and they got like a big ass statue inside.
The scale is Stanley Dollars to Dwight Nichols. Or no, what? No, Dwight Dollars to Stanley Nichols.
Nice. Yeah. So the whole point is that even so, like for example, actually, I can show this as an example. Like even when it comes to like animators, when they draw, they have a process, and the first part of that process is drawing in blue pencil because of the way that they would pick it up in scanners. And actually, on this page, you can see that even my tree right here, I used a sphere as a basic, placeholder for this in this drawing. And then I have darker pencil around it, and that's kind of like the penciling and inking. It's the same type of concept where there's a process. Even when I'm drawing for myself, I have a process, and nobody like this isn't. I'm not selling this or showing this off to anybody except for just sharing it with people. But like I'm not trying to like do anything with it. It's just
that's what actually traditional comic artists like when they work on traditional pages, they'll use a blue line first.
Yep.
Yeah.
A photocopy blue line, and then they'll scan it in, and then they'll
if
change proportions, and then they'll
right here these what is it, the Prismacolor pencils.
Yep. The non-photo blue.
Yeah, the erasable color pencils.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's definitely you got to have levels to it, It's just like building a house, building anything like in construction. You have layers, and you have certain people doing those tasks, and they focus on that one task and move on to the next, and to the next, and to the next until your house is built.
Floor in the house until the first one's fully structured, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And I was going to say that same process also applies after the creative work is done too. Like now that it's all done, you've got a digital copy, like now you want to get it printed. Well, guess what? You better make sure that each of the files you send to the printer is good. Maybe have them print one for you and send it to you and say, hey, is this good? Like,
dude, I my art director at Maui sent me I don't know if it's the Gantt chart, but it's basically like a project management breakdown. And
a Gantt chart's the one where there's a timeline, and when this ends, that means another one can begin, and if it gets pushed off, it pushes everything else off.
Yes. Yeah. So he sent me one of those, and what's crazy to me is because like as an artist and doing my comics myself is like the more of the process is in the steps of doing the art, but then when you see it in a Gantt chart, it's like that's just one little itty bitty portion of it. And there's so many levels to it. Like everybody's doing different things, marketing, design, publishing, like all the different levels of it. They do a whole bunch of research with their stuff too. So they even have a whole process before they even start a book.
Even marketing, for example, like Greg knows this, before we launch our campaigns for Kickstarter, we start the marketing for that like 2 months in advance.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing is that's why a Gantt chart is actually highly effective, because you could have stenciling here and marketing here. It can, and it extends past it. But the point is that it, when you should be working on stuff. And so actually maybe that's something we could put in the resources. Maybe we can make like a simplified Gantt chart, like in an Excel file or something. But, that's obviously like, it should be like stenciling, inking, coloring, or stenciling, lettering, inking, coloring.
Yeah.
And by doing it in that process, you can have that drawn out. And then again, for the people that think that their comics are just going to sell because they created it, here's where you start building up your platforms. Here's where you start telling people you're about to launch something. Here's where you start the Kickstarter launch, like stuff like that. Like,
and what's
realize how much goes into that.
And the beautiful part to, first of all, the age we live in and the access to the information we have is a lot of that stuff is figured out already. Like you can go online and just look up information, get all the information you can, all the knowledge you can before you start that process. And then you'll know what comes first, second, third, what's the importance of what, and what I would do too is I would seek out anybody that has like a degree in project management or has like a specialty in project management and kind of just get their opinion about stuff and say like, how do you usually work with the team and what's your process? Do you have any tools that you use that can better my process? Just reach out to people, man. Talk. That's what the internet's for. It's disseminating information globally.
Yeah, and especially if you're working on something creative, I'm sure somebody like an engineer might be, behooved to be like, ooh, I'll show you my cool little tactic to make your artwork better, right? So it's definitely something that could be effective.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty good. I like that one.
Okay.
Breakfast talk.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And
smash it.
Smash that like button.
Just give me all the bacon and eggs you have.